Good morning, everyone. And welcome to today's service. And actually, this is the last Sunday service now for April. And how many Sundays we have until summer vacation? 6, 7, right? Time flies. And I hope you have an exciting plan for the summer vacation. How many Dharma school students we have today? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Few of them today, but today, if you remember what was like before COVID, I often shared the music like once a month. I played bass guitar. Today I didn't bring my bass guitar, but because I don't have to record Sunday services anymore, I have a little bit spare time. So I recorded my bass guitar playing and uploaded on YouTube. So this is a video I would like to show. This is the recording I recorded like a few days ago. And this is a music by a progressive metal band named Arch Echo. So hopefully, sound too. Okay. So I don't know if you really like a progressive metal, but
If you struggle to lose
I was
weight,
introduced
you
to the
must see
music
this.
when I was in
A fat dissolving
not
coal has
music.
just been leaked that can dissolve 59 pounds of fat in just a matter of weeks. Did you know every overweight person on Earth
You can turn it off.
has one thing in common?
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with diet or exercise.
Yep. Okay. But anyway, so I started playing music when I was in, I don't know, 6 years old. I started playing piano, but I was not good at it, so I quit. Then I started playing trumpet when I was in 3rd grade, and I was in marching band until I finished the elementary school. Then when I was in junior high school, my friend introduced me Black Sabbath, you know, the heavy metal. So since then, I'm listening to many kinds of music. I grew up listening to heavy metal, hard rock, but most of the time. But now I really love jazz and fusion. So this band, Arch Echo, has a kind of mixed feeling of metal and jazz and fusion. That's why I really like them. And they were planning to tour and come to Portland with one of the other progressive heavy metal band named Dream Theater. Then they canceled because of COVID. So I couldn't see Arch Echo, unfortunately. But when I posted this video on YouTube, the bass players of Arch Echo actually commented on the video saying, "Nice job." So I'm really happy about it. But you know, I think I listened to and practiced over hundreds of times to be able to play without making any mistakes. And it took a while to memorize this admira and kind of things. So it was really, I think I achieved something. I feel like I achieved something. But to achieve something, we need to make efforts, right? And it doesn't have to be about music, but it could be about sport. It could be about study. And we make efforts to be better at it. And during the practice or study, of course, we make mistakes because we are not perfect. But we don't need to be too afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are the stepping stone to the success, right? And I'm sure that I have shared this word before, but one of the bass players named Victor Utten, he's a really good slapping and top right-handed, right-hand technique, and he's really good bass player. And he said something like, "You are never more than a half step away from a right note." Okay, you are never more than a half step away from a right note. This is actually true. And this is regarding how to play improvisation, right? But I really love this word of him. We all make mistakes in our lives, as I mentioned, but we are never more than a half step away from the right path. So when we realize our mistakes, we just need to move half step to adjust it. And I'm still afraid of making mistakes. I might not seem like it, but giving Dharma talk in English every Sunday, I'm always nervous. And if my message is good or not, I care about it too. And I care about if I am saying the correct thing or incorrect thing. So, but when I think about I'm never more than a half step away from a right path, that makes me feel much easier. And also the note, which is a half step away from the right note, that could be used as passing note. And that makes music richer in emotions, right? So I could say that all the mistakes during making efforts in our lives makes our lives richer too. So important thing is not to make mistakes or not to be afraid of making mistakes, but making efforts in anything is really important. And if we make mistakes, that's okay. Learn from it and adjust it, right? So this is Dharma school talk. So I'm talking to Dharma school students actually, but Dharma school students may, face many occasions which requires efforts to achieve something. But my advice is that don't be afraid of making mistakes because you are never more than half step away from right path. So learn from the mistake and adjust it to achieve your goal. So, okay. So I like to conclude my Dharma school talk with Gassho and Nembutsu. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Nam. Back. Yep. So now I would like to share a word of our founder, Shinran Shonin, from Notes on Essentials of Faith Alone. So please join me in Gassho. Please put your palms together. あらわに賢き姿、善人の形を表すことなかれ、精進なる姿を示すことなかれとなり、そのゆえはないけこけなればなりと。People who aspire for the Pure Land must not behave outwardly as though wise or good, nor should they act as though diligent. The reason is stated, for inwardly we are possessed of falsity. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nammanda Butsu, Nammanda Butsu, Nammanda. Yeah, there is a typo in Japanese, but it's okay. We all make mistakes, right? So today, I picked my theme of the Dharma talk as right effort, right effort. So for Dharma school, I talked about the importance of making efforts. But the word of Shinran Shonin I just shared, right, sounds like going against making efforts. And I don't want you to misunderstand that Shinran Shonin is denying the diligence for making efforts. The key to understand the passage of Shinran Shonin is that people who aspire for the Pure Land. So those who are walking the path of Nembutsu should not rely on the intellectual understanding or goodness or evilness or evilness of person or our diligence to attain birth into the Pure Land. Because we all have our own world. We all rely on self-centered values to judge people and things. So our actions are poisoned by the self-centered mind. So with this mind, we are not able to direct virtues and merits for our attainment of birth into the Pure Land. And we should solely rely on the working of Amida Buddha. So important attitude for the practitioners of Nembutsu is not to be like, I am wise, I am good, I am diligent person. Right? But as I often mention, the attitude of the practitioners of Nembutsu is more like self-reflective. Through realizing the self-centered nature of our own, we be more humble and begin to appreciate the working of Amida Buddha to grasp and never abandon us. So Shinran Shonin is not denying the diligence or making efforts in general, but he is denying the diligence or efforts to attain birth into the Pure Land. It is like filling the basket or sieve with water, okay? How hard we run the water, we cannot fill the water in the basket. And running water in basket could be considered as wrong effort to fill the water into the basket, right? But Do you know that? Do you know this? There's a way to fill the basket with the water. No idea? Right. So it is to put the basket into the water, right? Then the water fills the basket. So to fill the water, what is right effort? Is to put the basket into the water. That is right effort, right? Putting the basket in the water, putting the basket into the water is just like the path of other power Nembutsu and Shinjin, entrusting heart. We are like the basket, okay? We are like the basket. Maybe it's hard to imagine we are basket, but we are just like the basket. And it is not our effort to fill the water into the basket by ourselves. When we put basket into the water, water naturally fills the basket, right? So just like this, when we entrust ourselves to the working of the primal vow of Amida Buddha, the cause of our attainment of birth into the Pure Land fills us. Okay? So right effort for Jodo Shinshu Buddhists could be considered to receive Shinjin, entrusting heart. And by the way, A4 Noble Path, right? This is really famous, and most of Buddhist followers knows what A4 Noble Path is. And there is right effort. And I have talked about this in the past, but right in here does not mean what each individual thinks as right. That is not right effort or right, what is right in A4 Noble Path. Because as Prince Shotoku, do you remember which one's Prince Shotoku? You have three options, maybe. Right? So the far right from you, that is Prince Shotoku. And he said, you're right, maybe he's wrong. And he's right, maybe you are wrong, right? So we attach to what we think as right. And this is why there are conflicts in the world. And last week, I was asked to mention the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But, any wars, the conflicts in the world begins with the attachments to the self-centered idea of what is right. And oftentimes, the ordinary people of the countries are the big victims of the selfish decisions of the country as what the leader thinks as right. And unless we, each individuals, realize the importance of living the one-sided viewpoint, the war and conflicts never ends in the world. So that is why one of the Buddhist texts said, one's peace is others' peace. One's peace, one's own peace is others' peace. So if each individual in the world resides in the peace, others will be in peace because there is no cause of conflict. So anyway, the word translated as right in Buddhism is samyak. And it means going along with, together, or in one direction. Okay, going along with, together, or in one direction. So it is called right because this A4 Noble Path or right efforts or right view or anything that leads us to the attainment of enlightenment. That is why it is called right. And this leads us to the direction of the enlightenment. So the self-power efforts of this being, who is just like a basket, does not lead me to the direction of the enlightenment. Does it make sense? Self-power efforts of this being, just like the basket, does not make me or leads me to direction of the enlightenment, because it's like a water running into the water, the basket, and water just run through the basket, right? So my self-power efforts, that cannot be considered right effort to attain enlightenment. So only through relying on the power of the primal vow, I am able to attain enlightenment. So to receive Shinjin, entrusting heart, could be considered the right effort in Jodo Shinshu. Okay, so this is what I thought about right effort from Jodo Shinshu perspective. And I could end my Dharma talk here, but as I mentioned, I promised a person that I will mention about Russian invasion of Ukraine in my talk today. So I will briefly talk about it from here. So since this is a really political issue, please don't listen to this message as Buddhist priest message, but please listen more as a message of one ordinary beings, okay? And, I'm reading news about the situation in Ukraine every day. And I was really curious how Japanese people are reacting to this situation. So I went online and read some comments regarding the invasion. And most of them are angry about the situation. Most of us in the world just want to live peacefully and happily with families and friends. And there is no right for anyone to take these peaceful lives with violence. And threatening the world with displaying the use of the nuclear weapon is unacceptable. So some people in Japan are worried about the Japanese defense system. In Constitution, Japan banned possessing the nuclear weapons. So some comments on the internet are saying like, Ukraine abandoned nuclear weapons. That is why Russia invaded Ukraine. Japan needs to amend the constitution and need to have nuclear weapon as deterrence, right? But deterrence is just a deterrence, right? It is not the ultimate solution of the problem. And I believe this is the wrong efforts to achieve peace. If every country possessed a nuclear weapon, that is wrong effort to achieve peace. If I use the metaphor of the basket again, this is just like running the water into basket and trying to fill the water, fill the basket with the water. If each country in the world possessed a nuclear weapon, the world would be peaceful? No, right? There's only more risk of the nuclear wars. So, as I mentioned, the word translated as right in Sanskrit is samyak, meaning going, along with, together in one direction. We need to make right efforts, right? The effort lead us to the direction of peace. And I think that is why education is really important. If all people in the world learn the importance of respect and friendship, importance of caring and compassion, which are Buddhist treasures, that will lead people to the direction of peace. So I know there are various opinions about this situation, and maybe my right is your wrong, and your right maybe my wrong. So there is various opinions, and I'm not forcing you to follow my opinion, but important thing is to respect others and nurture friendship and understanding. I think this is the core value of Buddhist. So I hope today's talk was somehow helpful for your life. And in closing, please join me in Dassho. Please put your palms together. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namo.